Hey everybody, how's it going today? Today we are talking all about bump stops, and we're going to cover why you might want to consider changing out your stock bump stops for a little bit more of an extended bump stop. In front of me here I got some Durabumps. This is an extended bump stop. This is a stock Toyota 4th gen bump stop. As you can see, quite a bit of difference. These thread in just like this, and then these actually have a nut inside of them that goes up like that. And so, biggest difference, really nice. I don't even know what this is made of, some sort of probably polyurethane rubber. But it's extended, and it's made to be extended because when you lift your 4Runner, you actually create more distance between your bump stop and your lower control arm. So let me show you what I mean here. So right in the garage here, I have my 4th gen. We're going to prepare to take off the stock bump stop on this side. I already did the other side, but just so you can understand what I'm talking about. So down here, you can kind of see it. This is a bump stop. So this is your stock Toyota bump stop. As you can see, I have a lift. My lower control arm's pivoted down quite a bit, and so when the suspension flexes, that is when the shock absorber pushes up, the lower control arm goes up, and the bump stop is supposed to contact the lower control arm to dampen it, to not allow the shock to go through its full range of motion and bottom out. The problem is when you lift your vehicle, oftentimes your stock bump stop will no longer make contact with the point that it was meant to make. And so you need to extend it. You need to get a longer bump stop to stop your shock from bottoming out. I'll show you what I mean in an illustration here as well. So, with your OEM setup, this is just in the shape of a 4Runner. You got your coil, and then you have your shock absorber. This is your lower control arm. Right here is your stock bump stop, as you can see. So when your suspension travels, goes up and down, your stock bump stop is going to make contact with your lower control arm. That's going to stop this spring from fully compressing, bottoming out. The problem is when you go to a little bit of a bigger a lift here, you create more of a distance between your bump stop and your lower control arm. And so if we were to have, let's say, that stock bump stop here, and we're flexing throughout a travel, we might only get to about here before we start to bottom out. The problem is that puts a lot of strain on the shock absorber. That's going to continue to bottom out. That's going to wear out the seals. That's going to be really hard on your ride. So what do? Well, you get an extended bump stop. For example, like this. And so now when it goes here. This dampens it to take the brunt force off the shock absorber. Now the bump stop is taking the brunt force of that lower control arm coming out, making sure you're not bottoming out, really smoothing out your ride. And so, is it worth it? Absolutely. If you're paying thousands of dollars to get nice suspension components in your vehicle and you have not upgraded your bump stops, you might want to consider that. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my 4th gen Toyota 4Runner bump stops. And I'll show you before and after as well, just for like ride quality. We might not be able to see too much just because it's GoPro in the front. But we might be able to see a little bit. It might dampen it just from our viewpoint. Who knows? But anyways, I'm going to get the angles. Let's try our best, and I'll show you how I'm about to do this. All right, I got my truck in the air here, wheeled to the side. Also, important reminder, always put your truck on a jack stand, not just your jack. Don't get hurt when you're working on your vehicle. And so what we got down here, this is our stock bump stop. If you're working on a 4th gen Toyota, it might be the same with some other Toyotas as well. You actually have some holes back here that you can spray some penetrating fluid into here to try to get into the thread. So when you're reefing on this thing, it's a little bit easier to get off. I'm going to use some channel locks. Simply put them around and reef on it as hard as I can. It's going to be pretty corroded. And so it might take me a while. It might take you a while as well. But if you live somewhere where your roads aren't salted and you have a lot easier of a life, then hey, that's sweet. But for me, this is going to take a while. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my channel locks around it, try to loosen it off, and then I'll show you guys once I get past that step. Yeah. It's a little update. I managed to get it moving. As you can see, though, they're on there tight. This one's finally coming off nice and loose, but can take a little bit of elbow grease to get these things off. Also, make sure if you are using channel locks or something, you're watching your hands. You're not putting a finger in between or something because you're going to hurt yourself. Always try to keep an open hand when you can, especially when you're pushing. If you keep a closed hand, you're going to knuckle punch. But if you keep an open hand, you can usually hit your palm out. But this thing's moving. I'm happy about that. Not quite that much, but I'm going to finish taking this off, then I'll show you the next step. All right, just managed to get that off. As you can see, it's smoking because I hit it with the torch. Just to make sure the threads didn't break there. But here it is. That is our control arm and our bump stop without a bump stop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spray this with some brake clean and then use a wire wheel to get it clean. And I'm going to try to clean out the threads as best I can for the new bolt that's going to go in there, and so I'll show you how I do that as I do it. All right, so first thing here, I just sprayed it with some brake clean, then I just have a simple, whoops, that went flying. I got a simple wire wheel on a drill. I'm just cleaning up where the bump stops contact. Then I'm also going to clean up where they sit and where they bolt in. So I'm just doing a rough go first here to clean this up nice. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a finer Dremel and go through that again. Let me go get the Dremel. All right, now that I got everything cleaned up, I got my extended bump stop here, a 14mm bolt. I'm just going to basically put the bump stop like this, and then I'm going to thread the bolt in the bottom. Before I do, I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on it. I have some super off-brand red thread locker I'm going to put on this. It comes with blue, but for some reason my package didn't have the blue in it. And I'm all out of blue, so I'm going to put off-brand red, which is equivalent to about blue. Green, purple, yellow, who knows? Anyways, these things are never meant to come off again. So I'm going to put the thread locker on. I'm going to begin to screw that back in. All right, so I got this on. Basically, you have to find the right size socket, so this is what I used. A little bit more of a deep socket just to get out not too much clearance between here, so you want to make sure your lower control arm is as extended as it can. Usually that means taking off your wheel or jacking it up at the right point, but all I have to do now is basically stick this in here and tighten her up. Not too hard. And so I'm going to go tighten her up, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. All right, we got the new bump stops on. You can see the old ones here. Quite a bit different. It covers about the same surface area, but you're getting way more of an extension. And so I'm excited to see how these do. If they make contact, hopefully not just on driving on the road here. But we'll do a little bit of footage afterwards here to see if they do contact at all. I'll try to send it off a little bit of a backyard hooligan route here, but we'll see. Anyways, just hand tighten these is all it required. Don't need to get a torque spec in there. Just nice and tight. And yeah, so big upgrade over the other ones. So I managed to mount my GoPro to the front of the 4Runner here so we can see the up travel of the lower control arm if it makes contact with that Duro stop, bump stop, which it does a few times here. I'll let you guys watch, but this really illustrates what the bump stop actually does. You can see it just behind the CV axle there. So I'll shut up and let you guys watch the end of this video. All right, just got back from a little joyride there. I didn't know if I was going to notice a difference, to be honest. But over these stock Toyota bump stops, these Durabumps are pretty unreal, actually. They dampened a lot of the hard hits when I was going over the curbs. It sounds so silly. I just went around the block. I wasn't exactly doing something crazy like some Baja type stuff. But yeah, just from the little bit I did there, I could tell that it dampened the just the end of travel that I was getting on some of those harsher hits. So overall, I think, you know what, if you still are running stock bump stops and you have a lifted vehicle, this is definitely worth your money. It's just better for your ride as well. They're pretty cheap. I think I got mine around 250 bucks on a Black Friday sale. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Here's the garage we just moved. So this is pretty sweet. But anyways, I'll get some more videos up for you guys soon. Anyways, hope you guys have a good one. Take care.